Kathy Helbig, owner of the Kathy Helbig Group. We're talking what we wear and how we work out, among other things. But also, what you really wanted to focus on this morning is that welcome, first of all, and second of all, winning a contract. What does that mean in your business?
So this has really been a crazy market, and we've been talking about this this is the third season, but this year is particularly interesting because there's even more of an inventory crisis, and so the buyers are kind of crazy out there, like they're desperate to the point to get into houses. And what they don't understand is if you're not equipped with the right real estate agent that knows what they're doing and is familiar with this type of market, you really might be handicapping yourself and you don't even know it. So what we see, because we sell a lot of houses, so we put a new listing up, we might have 5, 10, 12 offers on it.
Really?
So we see the different offers, the way they're crafted. And it's like, half of them right off the bat are just, they're just the way the agent wrote it, the contingencies that the people put into it. It's just not the way to go win the war when you're trying to get inventory bought in this market. So one thing that became kind of popular over the last couple of years that a lot of people didn't really know about was called escalation clauses. So you would put in an offer on a house. Let's say it's a $250,000 house, and you'd say, I'm going to offer $245,000, and then I'm going to I'll agree to pay $1,000 over whatever the highest offer might be.
Okay.
You can also have a cap on it, not to exceed $255,000.
I was going to ask you.
Right.
I mean, you could say that, and then it
say
could end up being
open.
$300,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now there's ways for buyers to pull, which is why, honestly, if you don't put a cap on it, sometimes it's worse because the seller's going to go, how do I know where your threshold was? And then I pick you, and then you bail next week. So, those are all strategies right there that people don't even realize, and that, quite frankly, a lot of the agent population doesn't really understand either. So it's really important. So when you do an escalation clause like that, you have to know all the implications on both how's the seller going to interpret it and what does it mean for me as the buyer. A lot of times what the buyers don't understand in this type of market is they're trying to build in closing costs too. So they throw in this escalation clause, but then they say, but buyer to credit me back $5,000 in closing costs. And now you're starting to muddle the contract up. So when you're going into an offer, if it is not at completely 100% necessary for you to build in closing costs because you don't have the cash out of pocket, so you need the buyer to absorb it on their balance sheet, don't do it, because that's one strike against you right there, because that is another domino effect of something else. Again, what a lot of people don't understand, the house has to appraise if you're going to get a loan for it, unless you're prepared to make up the difference between the appraisal and what the loan is that you're taking out. So again, people aren't thinking about all this stuff, so they're rushing into, we'll offer $10,000 over, we'll offer $15,000 over. And sellers are going, whoa, I'm making $15,000 more than I'm asking for my house. Yay, let's go have celebration. And then 2 to 3 weeks later is when the appraisal process comes in. And the appraiser comes back and goes, not worth $15,000 over in our opinion, so therefore we're not going to loan on that amount. So if you can't get the seller, Mr. Buyer, because the appraiser is working for the lender that's the buyer is using, if the seller doesn't agree to reduce the sale price back down the $15,000 or whatever it is to whatever the appraiser says so that the buyer can get the loan, then the buyer gets denied loan, and there's a provision in the contract that says if the buyer can't get the loan by a certain date, then he's free and clear.
More information, Kathy and her group would be obviously happy to help you about that. Thank you so much for dropping by today.
You're welcome.
We'll talk about this again, I'm sure.
Awesome. Thanks.
Kathy Helbig, owner of the Kathy Helbig Group, joining us on the Big 550 at 7:45.